All right. Well, hello. Good morning. Buenos dias, everybody. Welcome to another fun-filled school year. Hard to believe that 2016 is coming to its final one third final quarter. But that's the way it usually goes every year. Time just keeps on rolling along. All right, well, listen, I'm happy to meet all of you. I'm Profesor Cañedo, and I'll be your tour guide, your maestro, your professor, your instructor, whatever you want to call me for these next few weeks. And this welcome video, this introduction video is actually for everybody, for all of my online sections. So whether you're in the Grossmont College sections of History 108 and 109, or you're with me at Southwestern College for the History Mexican American Studies of 142, or for Mesa College, the Chicano Studies 141A. Welcome, bienvenidos. This video is for all of you. So for those of you in the Grossmont sections, you'll be seeing quite a bit of me, of course, for these next 16 weeks. But for those of you in the Southwestern and Mesa sections, you'll be a little bit more fortunate in that you only get to see me for 8 weeks. So once you start getting tired of me by about the second week of October, mercifully the class will begin to end. But for those of you in Grossmont, you're going to have to put up with me for a little bit longer, at least through Halloween, through Thanksgiving, and not just right before Christmas. Deck the halls, ho ho ho, and all of that fun stuff. But in any case, I'm happy to be here for all of you. I'm looking forward to working with all of you these next few weeks, whether it's 16 weeks or 8 weeks. So without further ado, let me go ahead and tell you a little bit about myself. In this introduction video, I'm mainly going to talk a little bit more about myself, who I am, my background, my interests, and then I'll say a few quick things about the respective classes themselves. So this video won't talk too much about your respective class. So whether you're in any of the Grossmont sections or the Southwestern or Mesa sections, I'm not going to get into a lot of detail about the class so much. I'll have separate videos down the line over the course of the next few weeks in which I tell you a little bit more about the class, whether they be videos in which I have detailed instruction about some of the assignments, or maybe there's some videos to clarify some things about a certain topic of the class. But in any case, whichever class you're in, you'll definitely see quite a bit of me with respect to these videos. So without further ado, let me say a few things about myself, and then I'll say a few quick things about the respective classes. Well, I'm Profesor Cañedo, or Profesor Cañedo, or El Profesor. You can call me that. And like I said, I'm really happy to be here with you for these next few weeks. I've been teaching online for Grossmont, Southwestern, and Mesa for quite a while now, for at least about the past 7 years, a little bit longer for Grossmont College. And I really enjoy teaching these online classes, even though I don't get to see you guys on a regular basis. I think like the majority of you taking these classes, you appreciate the flexibility and you like working on things, whether it be really early in the morning, like 3:30 or 4 a.m., or late at night after midnight. You can definitely work on class topics at any time, and that's something that I appreciate too. Even though I do enjoy teaching on campus sections, and I've got sections for Southwestern and for Mesa this fall with on-campus sections. I enjoy online quite a bit. I enjoy online quite a bit. I like the flexibility. I like the fact that there's a lot more, shall we say, new ideas, new terminology, new innovations. I really enjoy that aspect, and of course, the big news for those of you who have an idea about this, Blackboard is going to be phased out, I believe, all across the county. So, doesn't matter which school you're in. Blackboard is pretty much on its way out. I guess it's outlived its usefulness, and the state of California likes something called Canvas. So look out for Canvas to appear. It looks like the fall of 17 or maybe spring of 18. So those of us who do the online class will definitely be on the lookout for how Canvas works. But I mentioned I've been doing online for all 3 schools for quite a while, and I've been teaching for a little bit longer before that for all 3 schools all three schools also. Roughly about the late '90s, and roughly around the time when Bill Clinton was still president, it's possible. It might be coming down that maybe Mrs. Clinton might be president. So we'll just see how that plays out in the next few months. At all these schools, well, for Grossmont, I do cover the U.S. classes and the history of California classes. Some of you in the Grossmont sections probably took the 124 class already, so this might be your second or even third class with me, but I should be teaching 124 again in the spring semester. For those of you who need history 124, history of California, you can join me in the spring. And for Southwestern and Mesa, I've taught the Chicano Studies, the Mexican American classes for quite a while now. Again, whether it be online or the on campus sections. A little bit about myself, my background. I'm a native of the area, born and raised in the South Bay. Actually, a graduate of Hilltop High School down in Chula Vista. So I'm sure some of you at Southwestern, maybe you're fellow Lancers too. So go Lancers. But after I got out of Hilltop, I stayed local UCSD for my bachelor's in anthropology and San Diego State for my master's in Latin American studies. And roughly around the time I was finishing up San Diego State, I started teaching. So I pretty much stayed local my entire life. Although my house, my current home, is actually in Riverside County. I'm up here north of Temecula, east of Murrieta, in a little a community called French Valley. But I do spend quite a bit of time actually in San Diego. I'm in Hillcrest quite a bit. So you might say I kind of divide my time between Southwest Riverside County, French Valley, and Hillcrest. So I'm definitely quite familiar with everything that you see on the 15 between Winchester Road and University Avenue, Elkhorn Boulevard, Hotel Circle, that stretch. Let's see a little bit about sports or any other. Well, obviously you can see I'm a big baseball fan. I love the Detroit Tigers. I like the Dodgers too. So those who are Padres fans, you're probably not going to be happy with me about that. But I'm disappointed that the Padres haven't had a better season. I liked the Padres a lot when I was in junior high and high school. So even though I don't really root for them that much these days, I definitely want to see them succeed. And I was kind of hoping that the Dodgers and the Giants and the Padres have a pretty good rivalry going on. But unfortunately, not so much for the Padres. So I guess better luck next season. As for other sports, football, I'm not really that much of a big football fan, but I do like the Lions and I like the Rams. I loved the Rams when I was a little guy. I used to like seeing guys like Eric Dickerson, Lawrence McCutcheon. I used to like Pat Hayden. So I'm definitely happy that the Rams are back in the Southland where they belong in the first place. And as for other sports, I'm not much of a big fan of basketball. I do follow the Clippers a little bit, but hockey is my number one sport. I'm a big fan of the Ducks and the Red Wings. So when football season starts, I'm happy because that means a month later hockey season's going on. So I love the fall. My girlfriend's a big Buffalo Bills fan, so she's ecstatic right now, and I'll be pretty happy too once the hockey season gets going. In terms of music, I guess you might say I'm one of those old-time rock and roll guys, a dinosaur rock, whatever you want to call it. So whether it's bands like the Eagles, Steely Dan, ZZ Top, Boz Scaggs, those acts, I definitely like listening to those guys, and I like some jazz too. So Miles Davis, Dave Brubeck, Paul Desmond, those types of artists, George Benson, definitely. Those are some guys that I really like listening to quite a bit. And as for other things, other interests, as for pets, there's quite a few furry friends here at the French Valley Hacienda, as I sometimes like to call it. So there's 3 cats and one Cocker Spaniel. So when I make these videos, don't be surprised if one of my feline friends decides to barge in. So unfortunately, I think they're all asleep right now. It's a little bit warm out here in French Valley, but maybe in a future video, one of my feline friends might decide to come in and say buenas tardes. But of course it'll more come out like meow instead of hello or buenas tardes. Anything else I should mention? No, I think that pretty much covers in terms of what Profesor, El Maestro is all about. So let me go ahead now and say a few quick things about each of the respective classes, and then I'll begin to wrap things up. So this video might probably run close to about 15 minutes, but I figured that's a good introduction to give you a sense of what El Maestro is all about, and of course to gradually get you into the into the swing of things as the semester gets going. Okay, now one note about the videos before I talk a little bit about each respective class. Every Monday, starting next week, I'm going to be starting the week with what I call roll call videos. I'm changing things around a bit with my online class in that on every Monday I used to write detailed announcements on Blackboard explaining what's going to be happening during the week. And it was something that I've been accustomed to for quite some time, but I'm going to change things around a bit. I'm going to drop those written announcements because over the last couple of years, my announcements tend to get a little bit too longer and longer and longer. And it's getting to the point where you might say, I was kind of tuning myself out because I tended to write too much. So I'm going to switch things around in that every Monday you're going to get what I call roll call announcements. Every Monday, starting next week, I'll announce that is in about a 10-minute video, 10 to 12-minute video, telling everybody what's coming up for the week. And because these videos are for everybody, it's important for you to pay attention to the point in time in which I talk about your class. So some Mondays I'll start with the Grossmont classes and say, okay, History 109, you guys work on this. History 108, you work on this. And then I'll talk about the South. Then I'll mention the Southwestern and Mesa items. But then some weeks I might say, okay, let's start this morning and talking about the those of you in the MAS 142 class. Here's what you have to work on, and then those of you in the 141A class, here's what you have to work on. So in other words, my roll call announcements will be for everybody, for all four of the sections I'm teaching. So just pay attention to the part of the class that you're in, and listen carefully to what your obligations are, your tasks are for the week. Whether it's a quiz that's going to be due, whether an assignment is due, or if it's something that I need to remind you of. That is, maybe there's a journal assignment that the History 108 people has to do. So I'll mention that. So that'll be the main new feature for these classes starting next week in what I call the roll call announcement. So again, the first roll call will be coming up next week. So that'll put us on Monday the 29th, the first roll call announcement. Now, as for everybody in the class, let me go ahead and do this. Let me quickly point out what your books are, starting first with the History 108 people. So for those of you in History 108, you've got two books this semester. Here is your main book. It's the Who Built America Volume 1. I've used this book for quite a while, for about the past 6 or 7 years. I like it quite a bit. It talks about U.S. history from a more pro-labor perspective, history of the people perspective. It's worked for me beautifully, so I'm going to keep using it. So this is your main textbook. It's Who Built America Volume 1. Make sure you get the copy with a scene of African American workers. That's your main text. And then your other book is a copy of, I'm sorry, I thought I had that book with me, but it's the Isabel Allende novel, Daughter of Fortune. It's a white book. There should be plenty of used copies available at the bookstore, so pick that up also in addition to Who Built America. Now, for those of you in History 109, you have Who Built America 2, but your volume, of course, is Volume 2, covering from the after the Civil War to the early 2000s, roughly on the time when Barack Obama is first elected as president. So make sure, for those of you in History 9, get to with America with some women workers from the World War II era. That's your main text. That's your only text for the class. So for History 109, it's just this text. Make sure you pick it up. So again, it's Who Built America Volume 2. All right, now let's talk about those of you in the 141A class, the Chicano Studies class at Mesa. You've got 3 books. So one book you want to get right now is Between the Conquests, which was edited by former Professor Mike Cornelis, who just retired from the Chicano Studies department. So make sure you pick this up too, and make sure you get the blue cover of the 5th edition. Mike made many changes from the earlier edition, so if you have 4th edition or earlier, you're gonna have a tough time with a lot of the reading. So you want to make sure you get the 5th edition as soon as you can. because this will be a main focus of the discussion board portion for the class. So Between the Conquest 5th edition, that's what you have to get in the 141A class. And then the other book you have to get is Ancient Mexico by Jacqueline Lathrop. Now, unfortunately, the Kendall Hunt Company, which publishes the book, they're on to the 11th edition now. And unfortunately, the price tag is a little bit, shall we say, let's put it this way. You might be able to get a better deal on maybe a 1989 Mustang than a new copy of Ancient Mexico, the 11th edition. So my recommendation is try to get the 10th edition or earlier, 10th or 9th edition. So go online, see what you can track down, and try to get either the 9th or 10th editions of Ancient Mexico. 11th might be too pricey, but if you can afford the 11th edition, definitely go ahead and get it, but sell it back, because I'm going to keep using Ancient Mexico for the foreseeable future. So if you do get the new edition of Ancient Mexico, you can get some money back toward the end of the semester. This way you got a better chance of getting some of your money back. But again, please get a copy of Ancient Mexico. So again, either 9th or 10th edition, but if you can afford 11th edition, please pick it up as soon as you can. We're going to start with Ancient Mexico pretty soon. And also there's a book on Christopher Columbus. I don't have the copy in front of me now, but it's a little book on Columbus. It doesn't cost too much, so pick that up as soon as you can. There's plenty of copies at the Mesa bookstore. All right, and last but not least, for those of you in the 142 class for Southwestern College, you've got two books here. Another book by Mike Ornelas called Beyond 1848, and a book by a gentleman who teaches at University of North Carolina, Chapel Hill, Zaragoza Vargas, called Crucible of Struggle. These are your two books. Please pick these up as soon as you can. We're going to start with Crucible of Struggle right away. In fact, first readings this week, and then we've got readings here too. I don't recall if it's either this week or next week, but pretty soon. So again, for those of you in 142 class, these are your books. Make sure you get copies of those. Now, before I conclude, let me make one final point. And this is for those of you in either the 141A or 142 classes. I'm going to put you into discussion groups very soon. So either by the middle part of the week or toward the end, so maybe roughly around Wednesday or better yet Thursday. Those of you in the 141A and 142 classes, I'm going to place you in discussion groups. So just watch the announcements over the next few days. In fact, I'll have written announcements for those of you in 142 and 141A coming up on Wednesday, and those of you in the Grossmont classes, 108, 109, I'll have written announcements too for you in Blackboard also on Wednesday. So there's not going to be any written announcements in Blackboard these first 2 days of the session, but coming up on Wednesday and on a regular basis, most likely you'll see the written announcements either on Wednesdays and Fridays. There might be some on Tuesdays and Thursdays, but it looks like for all intents and purposes, Wednesdays and Fridays will be the main days in which you'll see plenty of written announcements in Blackboard. But as for Mondays, as I mentioned, Mondays will be the domain of these roll call videos in which I go over everything that's going to be covered during the week for each class. So just be aware that these Monday announcements will be for everybody. Doesn't matter if you're in either History 108 or 109 or in MAS 142 or Chicano Studies 141A. So it might get kind of confusing at first, but I think after about a couple of weeks, you'll understand how these roll call videos will work. And then in the written announcements, those of course will pertain to your classes exclusively. And let's see what else I should mention. Oh, that's about it. So in the meantime, everybody, for the next couple of days, in your respective sections, go to the discussion forum section, go to the introductions forum, and introduce yourselves. Tell me and your classmates who you are, your interests, what are you looking for in this class, blah, 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 all of that fun stuff. And I will read and reply to all of your introductions over the next couple of weeks. So it might take me a little while to finally get to reply to all of you, but just give me a couple of weeks. So I would say by the end of the second week, right before the Labor Day weekend, I'll be able to get to read and reply to all of you and find out who all of you are. Of course, the first week has a lot of administrative mumbo jumbo and crazy stuff going on that us instructors have to deal with. So. And of course, people who want to add the class, and the individuals who drop the class, and and this and that. So of course, first week it's really chaotic on many levels, and all of you definitely know that, especially with those of you with on-campus sections. You got to get your books, your financial aid. You're trying to figure out where the best place to park. So, but like I said, in the meantime, go to the discussion forums, introduce yourselves, and please, please everybody, no matter which class you're in, read the syllabus carefully. Look over everything that's going on in each class, and look over the schedule page so you know what's coming up. You know what's coming up for this week. If don't be alarmed if some of the assignments seem confusing right now. I will have these preview nuts and bolts videos in which I explain in detail how these major assignments work. So those will be coming up over the course of the next couple of weeks. But in the meantime, check the classes out, check your class out, explore, introduce yourself, and then on Wednesday, coming up on Wednesday, I'll have written announcements for everybody, no matter which class you're in for this semester. All right, well that's it. So hope all of you have a great fall semester. Looking forward to working with all of you. Any concerns or questions, of course, you can contact me through your campus email, whether it's Grossmont, Mesa, or Southwestern, or use the Message for Professor section in Blackboard. Contact me there too, and let's get this semester going. Let's have a great semester, a rewarding time, and I look forward to talking and corresponding with each and every one of you. All right, everyone. So that's it from my French Valley Hacienda headquarters, I guess you could call it. Have a great first day, and I'll talk to all of you again coming up on Wednesday in Blackboard.